The word left my mouth before my brain even registered it. "Thanks, Mom." That's what I said. To my teacher, in front of the entire class. And for exactly 3 seconds, 30 kids just stared at me in complete silence. Nobody breathed. I swear the clock on the wall got louder, like it cranked up its own volume just to make the moment worse. My teacher just kind of blinked once, slow, like she was double-checking she'd heard it right and hoping she hadn't. I was sitting there with my hands still half raised from asking a question, fingers frozen mid-air, watching my entire social standing evaporate in real time, like a puddle on hot pavement. Here's the thing, though. It wasn't even a big moment. It wasn't a test. It wasn't some emotional breakdown where you'd expect your brain to short-circuit. She just handed back a worksheet, a plain, stapled, nothing special worksheet with a red 82% on the corner. And I said, "Thanks, Mom," on total autopilot. The exact same flat tone you'd use to say thanks to literally anyone who hands you a piece of paper. No warning, no build-up, just a completely mundane, low-stakes exchange that somehow turned into the most humiliating 90 seconds of my week. And the second it left my mouth, my whole body reacted before my brain caught up. Face hot, like someone had opened an oven 2 inches from my skin. Stomach dropped like an elevator cable snapped clean. I remember staring at my desk so hard I could have told you every scratch in the wood grain, every initial some kid carved into it years before me. I wanted to physically fold myself into my backpack and get zipped away, gone, mailed to a different school district. But here's the strange part. This isn't rare. This happens in classrooms everywhere, constantly, has probably happened in every school on the planet at some point this week. And there's a reason it's almost never random. The instinctive thing I told myself walking home that day, backpack straps digging into my shoulders, replaying it step by step the entire 6 blocks, was simple. I'm an idiot. I clearly wasn't paying attention. Something is wrong with my brain. That's the assumption, right? That saying mom to your teacher means you're uniquely careless, uniquely spacey, uniquely not all there, like everyone else has this basic function of human speech figured out, and you alone do not. And of course, my classmates didn't exactly help correct that theory. Within a day it was a bit. Somebody called me mom's favorite in the hallway, loud enough for 3 other people to laugh. Somebody else brought it up at lunch, like it was breaking news, complete with a dramatic reenactment. It became one of those stories that gets retold with extra flourishes each time, until the version people remember has way more drama in it than what actually happened. By Friday, I'd apparently also cried, which I definitely did not do, but treating it as some personal glitch, as proof I'm just built wrong, misses something. Because if this only happened to me, fine, maybe it really would be a me problem. But it doesn't only happen to me. It happens to kids in every grade, every school, every year, going back further than any of us have been alive. Which raises an obvious question. If basically everyone slips up this exact same way, is it really a personal failure? Or is your brain doing something it's built to do on purpose? So let's get into what's actually happening under the hood, because it's way less embarrassing than it feels. Cognitive psychologists have a name for this exact kind of slip, a semantic category error. Basically, your brain doesn't file people primarily by their individual identity. It files them by role. And certain roles get grouped together whether we like it or not, filed in the same drawer, even when the name tags are different. Think about what a teacher actually is, functionally in a kid's daily life. Someone who tells you what to do, corrects you, checks on you, hands you things, watches over you for hours a day, 5 days a week. More waking hours some weeks than your own parents get. Now think about what a parent is, an adult, an authority figure, someone who tells you what to do, corrects you, checks on you, hands you things, watches over you for hours a day. See the overlap? Your brain isn't being sloppy when it mixes those up. It's recognizing a legitimate, deeply reasonable pattern match, and it just happened to say the quiet part out loud. This is so well documented that it's not even just a school thing. Adults do it too. People call their boss by a parent's name mid-meeting and want to disappear into the carpet. People slip and call a coach dad after a big win, right there on the sideline. People say the wrong name to an older aunt who basically raised them, at Thanksgiving, in front of everyone. It happens with anyone occupying that overlapping mental slot of authority plus pair, regardless of age, job title, or how long you've had to practice not doing it. So if it's really just a filing error, an efficient, boring little glitch in how your brain sorts humans into categories, why did it feel like the single most catastrophic thing that had ever happened to you, standing there in that classroom with your ears ringing? Because the panic was never really about the word mom. It was about being seen. In that exact second, you weren't thinking about semantics or categories or cognitive science. You were thinking, everyone just watched me. Everyone is judging this. Everyone is going to remember this forever, tell their kids about it, put it on my tombstone. And that feeling is turned up to an unfair volume during school years specifically. Adolescent brains are wired with heightened social threat sensitivity. Basically, your nervous system treats peer judgment as a bigger deal during those years than at almost any other point in your life. Chemically, measurably, not just as a feeling you're imagining. That's not an exaggeration for effect. It's a real, documented shift in how much weight your brain assigns to what will people think of me during that specific window, which is exactly the window I happened to be standing in when this went down. Which is exactly why the same slip that would get an easy, warm laugh at home, where your actual mom might just say, "Well, I did pack your lunch," and move on, turns into a 5-alarm internal disaster the moment it happens with 30 witnesses your own age in fluorescent lighting with nowhere to hide. But here's where it gets interesting, because what actually happened next wasn't what I expected in the moment, braced as I was for the worst. My teacher didn't roll her eyes. She didn't make it a thing. She kind of smiled, said something like "happens all the time," and moved on to the next kid's question like nothing occurred, like the last 10 seconds hadn't just rearranged my entire understanding of my place in the universe. In story after story like this one, and there are a lot of them, because this happens constantly in classrooms on every continent, the adult on the receiving end almost never reacts with mockery. Usually it's warmth. Usually it's some version of "that's sweet," or a quick laugh and a subject change. No cruelty in it at all. And the laughter from classmates, when it happens, it's loud in the moment and gone embarrassingly fast, faster than you'd ever believe while you're standing inside it. This is actually backed up by memory research. People are far worse at recalling other people's humiliating moments than the person who lived through it assumes. It's called the spotlight effect, and it means you were the only one running instant replay on that memory for the rest of the week, the rest of the month, possibly the rest of your natural life, while everyone else had already moved on to whatever happened at recess. Ask around, and you'll find plenty of people who look back at their own "I called the teacher mom" moment now and just laugh, easily, without flinching. Some of them tell it proudly, like a weird badge of honor from childhood, a scar they're actually fond of. So if nobody else actually remembers it the way you were so sure they would, why did it feel so enormous inside your own head, in the moment, at the time, with your whole chest? That's the real reveal here, and it's bigger than just this one classroom moment. The spotlight effect means humans dramatically, consistently overestimate how much other people notice and judge our mistakes. Every single time, across basically every study anyone's run on it. It's not just you being extra sensitive. It's a documented pattern in how human memory and self-perception work, wired into all of us the same way. Studies on embarrassment specifically show this gap in vivid detail. The person who made the mistake remembers it for years. The exact lighting, the exact reaction, the exact feeling in their stomach, the exact squeak of their shoe against the floor tile. Meanwhile, the witnesses, the people you were so sure were cataloging your humiliation forever, most of them forgot it within days, some forgot it by lunch, already onto the next small classroom drama. Which means the lasting damage was never really the classroom moment itself. It was the years afterwards spent quietly replaying it, cringing about it in the shower at random for no reason at 11 p.m. on a random Tuesday, assuming everyone else was still thinking about it too. That's the actual cost. Not the 3 seconds of silence, the years of self-consciousness stacked on top of it, brick by brick, for an audience that had already left the building. If this is the kind of thing that's been wrecking your assumptions about your most embarrassing memories, stick around, because the next one I'm breaking down is about the text message read receipt panic everyone pretends they don't have, and what your brain is actually doing in those 30 seconds of silence. Because here's the actual reframe, and I want you to sit with this one. That slip wasn't a sign you're careless. It wasn't proof you weren't paying attention. It was proof that somewhere in your brain, this teacher had gotten filed under "someone who takes care of me." That's not a flaw. That's your nervous system recognizing safety in a person, using the closest label it had on hand, grabbing the nearest word that fit instead of the technically correct one. That's not embarrassing. That's actually kind of nice, if you strip the shame off it and just look at what it means. So the next time your face still goes a little hot, remembering something like this, know that your brain wasn't malfunctioning. It was just doing what brains do, filing people by warmth and safety instead of by title. The humiliation you carried afterward was never really about the room full of kids. It was about the story you kept telling yourself long after everyone else had already moved on, closed the book, and forgotten the page number. You can let that one go now. Anyway, that happened. Sticky Stickman.